Hello, 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 and welcome to the Morgan Man Sports Podcast, wherever you may be getting your podcast from, SoundCloud.com, Google Play Podcasts, Spotify, and now on YouTube. Guys, in today's episode of the Morgan Man Sports Podcast, I will be going over better ways to improve the current state of WWE, or as, you know, a lot of people would really prefer to call it, World Wrestling Entertainment. With all the superstars like Sasha Banks, Dean Ambrose, Luke Harper, Sanity breaking up, you know, it's concerning for the future of WWE, and for them superstars to be requesting a release, it got me thinking, well, what are better ways to fix WWE so that way the superstars like, okay, well, maybe I don't need to leave. Maybe I'm going to get my push after all. Or at least maybe one title shot every 2 years or something. So, starting off at number one, guys, it is to be creative with wrestling moves. Okay, so a lot of the reasons why WWE is currently like failing with like stadium sales and, you know, some viewership. And that's because of how vanilla the wrestling moves have become. Now it's just like, oh my god, I can expect Samoa Joe to now do a Rey Mysterio move, like a 619, even though I would love to see that. But it's so vanilla, like every superstar is copying every other superstar's moves, and it's not unique no more. And I learned that on the Eric Bischoff podcast, 83 Weeks. And Eric Bischoff, you know, was just saying in today's current state of like World Wrestling Entertainment or WWE, it's vanilla. And going back to the WCW days, yeah, heck, you had Eddie Guerrero facing off on Chris Jericho, and heck, they had their own moves, their own unique styles, and that is what made the match very spectacular. It wasn't like, okay, well, Chris Jericho's doing Hulk Hogan's moves, or Eddie Guerrero's doing Ric Flair moves. It wasn't like that. It was very unique style, and back in the WCW days, it was great to have those kind of wrestlers do their own unique thing. But in today's world situation, you're not going to get that. You're going to get the same moves, but from just a different person. Second up is let feuds die. Letting feuds die in WWE needs to be a thing. And it should have been, it should have been number one on this list. But whenever I say let feuds die, is don't carry on a feud for 2 WrestleManias. Don't let it happen. The only kind of feud that we got away with was John Cena versus The Rock, if I'm not mistaken, at WrestleMania 28 and 29. That was really kind of the only feud that we had that we could have got away with. But like, all right, let's just say The Miz and Dolph Ziggler, if I'm not mistaken. I think they had a feud going on. My God, it lasted for months and months on end. And I think the Intercontinental title changed hands between the both of them several times. People were just getting burnt out on it. And in today's current state of WWE, which would be like Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns for the Universal or WWE Championship, we're tired of seeing Roman versus Brock. Let it be something different. And they did try to experiment with like Samoa Joe, Finn Balor, challenging Brock Lesnar for the Universal title, and it sort of paid off. It really did, because it was new competitors. Brock Lesnar was defending, and you know, it was a very great match. Brock Lesnar really got his butt handed to him several times. Of course, he didn't lose to none of like, you know, Samoa Joe or Finn Balor, but it was great. You know, I was giving it like a 4-star match because of just the simple fact it's a different wrestler besides Roman Reigns. So, like I said, let feuds die, carry on to something else, and if you need to kind of reignite a feud, make it years down the road. Not years at least, make it like several months down the road before you kind of reignite that feud. Kind of like a best friend situation, like you and your best friend just have this big brawl or whatever, and y'all don't talk for months. You're actually like feuding, and then And then, let's just say, like 4 months later, something comes back up where it involves both you and that person, and then you feud again, and it carries on. And then ultimately, it just comes to an end completely. Not like becoming friends again, but like, you have that one final match to just part your ways and be done with that person. And the perfect example is the Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair feud that was going on since Hell in a Cell back last year. WrestleMania ended it. So I don't want to see Charlotte or Becky in the same ring together for at least a whole nother year and a half. My gosh. The third situation to better improve WWE is act your role. This is another topic that I want to discuss, and this was courtesy of 83 Weeks of the Eric Bischoff podcast. Alright, so The Miz is currently the kind of like the person that could still sort of be a heel, but still get cheered by the crowd. And the perfect example was whenever he was on Monday Night Raw. He's currently back on Monday Night Raw. But going back 2 years, 2 years prior, no, just last year's WrestleMania, WrestleMania 34. The Miz was a heel, being Intercontinental Champion on Monday Night Raw. But every time that he would do like Miz TV, he would sort of get cheered a little bit. And I was like, this is stupid right here. I mean, I don't get me wrong. I love The Miz. I really do. I think he is the GOAT of World Wrestling Entertainment, and think that he will be WWE Champion again this year or next. But anyways, The Miz is a perfect example of that, where he was the heel, being an Intercontinental Champion, but he was cheered during Miz TV. No, you don't need to do that, because it's sort of like you're kind of in the middle like a Stone Cold, and he's the only one that sort of really just got away with being a heel, but also being cheered at the same time through the WWE universe. But past that, like a Miz or an Edge, be a heel and act like a heel. Disrespect the crowd like Elias is doing. But, well, he's really not a great example, because he gets cheered on even though he's a heel. But like a Edge or... now, Christian was a very great example when he turned heel to become World Heavyweight Champion back in 2009, 10, or I think it's 2011, because Jack Swagger took it from him at that time. But Christian, he became heel, and when he became heel, he became world champion, but he was disrespecting the WWE universe by saying, no, I didn't need none of you bleeping cowards or whatever, because I did this by myself. Screw all of you. And, and see, I like that as a heel. You don't have to necessarily go with a kind of like a one-on-one wrestler kind of heel feud, but you can kind of expand out within the crowd itself and do great at it. Because if you're good, like I said, if you're going to be a heel, you need to sell it as you're a heel, not to be cheered as a babyface, but then be a heel. I don't like that. And going back to Becky, WWE was trying to make her a heel, because she was calling the crowd like dopes, and saying that none of them respected her or hasn't cheered her on since day one. Well, that didn't quite work out, because they were still cheered for Becky. So really, they just ultimately still made her a babyface, but then turned Charlotte into the heel. And then, that, of course, the feud went on until, WrestleMania this year. Oh, man. So, the fourth way to better improve WWE is give upcomers a chance. So, Vince, oh man, I'm talking to you. Give these upcomers a chance, like Elias, like not Ty Gentler. He's done and quit WWE. Like Apollo Crews, Mustafa Ali. I'm still saying Mustafa Ali, because I hate Ali just by that self. And just anybody who's been in the company, like on the main roster for X amount of years, and still haven't really got a push. Make them superstar worthy. Don't just let them sit there like a Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. Where are they at? They're just making random appearances out of nowhere, like in an Andre Battle Royal or whatever. But then past that, you don't see them on TV for like a whole year or whatever. And then all of a sudden, hey, we're back. We want a title shot that we're never going to win. No, let them win the Raw or SmackDown Tag Team Championships and let them have some TV time. Don't let them just sit back, because really, if you're let them sit back, what's happening ultimately is they're going to go AEW, Impact, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Ring of Honor. I mean, all of those wrestling organizations that can make them a star despite you. So Vince, give these outcomers a chance, because ultimately, it could better improve WWE. The fifth option is have an off-season like the NFL or the NBA. So I know this is ultimately probably discussed in other podcasts around the world, not just mine. But for me, I mean, if I'm the only one who is actually saying, hey, we need an off-season for WWE after WrestleMania, then that's great, because number one, it gives these wrestlers a chance to breathe a little bit. The road schedule, the traveling, promotions outside of WWE. I mean, it wears these superstars out. They've even admitted it, like on YouTube, where, hey, I'm on the road like 24/7. There's like no off days for me. Yes, I know they get vacations and other luxurious things, but I think they need an off season. Really, I mean, still, it's not like you're in fear that they're not going to work out during the off season, because hell, they're athletes. They have to work out regardless if it's not a regular season or off season. And I just think they need an off season to, number one, breathe, so that way they can kind of relax a little bit, spend way more time with their family. And number two is that way you could get the crowd to kind of anticipate and build up to some hype around WWE. Okay, so I don't even watch NASCAR. I really don't. But NASCAR, of course, has an off season, and whenever they come back, they do the Daytona 500. And so, me personally, what I think really should happen is do your WrestleMania, and then once WrestleMania is over with, give it a 2-month period, at least a 2-month period of an off season, and then come back strong with maybe a Money in the Bank or something else in that matter. So ultimately, I hope you all agree with me, at least suggesting an off season. Make sure it makes sense is coming in at number 6. I know, I actually just found that just right. But anyway, so that's the reason why Bruce Pritchard is back in WWE writing these stories, because before it wasn't making sense. Okay, so I keep going back to Becky but she's the perfect example. Why on earth would you, number one, have Becky be like this stone cold figure, but as a woman, kiss up to the authority in this certain matter? What was it? Elimination Chamber or Fastlane? Yeah, no, it was like 2 Monday Night Raws before Fastlane, where Triple H and Stephanie said, okay, we tell you what, you're back in the main event, or, well, at the time, no one knew if it was going to be the main event. You're back in the Raw Women's Championship match, only if you apologize. And Becky did, sorta. And I'm just sitting here thinking, why on earth would you build up Becky Lynch as a stone cold figure to have her now apologizing to authority figures? Because she's supposed to be the rebel, like Stone Cold, raise hell, wreak havoc, whatever. And But yeah, here she is, apologizing to authority just to get back into a match. Yes, okay, so I know it's like your ultimate dream that you worked so hard for and everything like that, and I understand it, but the storyline of it is you're supposed to be this rebel badass like Stone Cold, but yet here you are apologizing, to authority. I don't like that, so that's why Bruce Pritchard is back in WWE to make these storylines make sense. And finally, I know I'm going to cause a lot of controversy on this one, but I'm probably not the only one who has suggested this, and that is make Triple H let Triple H have 50-50 control or more over WWE. So this one is going to be a very good one right here, because Triple H, with him running NXT, look how much more better NXT, a rookie program, is better than Raw and SmackDown put together. Even 205 Live, because I know Vince is running 205 Live as well. You still can't have a rookie program outdoing the main rosters. You just can't. But Triple H is making that reality that dream happen in reality. So I think, and Triple H will eventually get custody of WWE whenever Vince does decide to retire or pass away. Hope it's, a very long time. Just, because of personal reasons. I'm not trying to, sound like I have like a black heart or whatever, but if it all ultimately comes down whenever Vince either passes away or does retire from the WWE. And like I said, NXT is very popular. You have big name superstars like Adam Cole, the Undisputed Era, Johnny Gargano. Oh my God. You had Drew McIntyre coming from the NXT. So I'm still going to use him as this kind of prospect. And look where they're turning out to be big name superstars. Yes, Drew McIntyre is, getting beat in a lot of these matches. But at the same time, he's still putting on that very great heel character. And he's winning some matches, and a lot of them are important matches. I'm actually rooting for him to be my Money in the Bank winner if he's even in it this year. But Triple H running the company at a 50-50 control or more, I think that needs to happen, because with Triple H running it on the main roster, he can then actually improve a lot of stuff. Promotion times, pushing smaller wrestlers into the big stage, at least to a mid card. A high mid card is where I would say Triple H could really make superstars like, let's just say, Apollo Crews really stand out. Because Apollo Crews right now, he's on the low card. You don't see him much. Vince makes him lose almost every match that he's in, not unless it's like a local wrestling performer down the street, quote unquote. And that's about it. I think, alright, yeah, let's just use Apollo Crews in this certain situation. Triple H is now, in control, and his first prospect is Apollo Crews. Okay, Triple H's like, okay, Apollo, I'm going to give you a push for the Intercontinental Championship. I want you to do this and that, and you need to sell it like this. And then Bruce Pritchard is going to come in behind me and write the story out for you. And you got to memorize it. And we're going to make you Intercontinental Champion, like I said, for a whole year up to WrestleMania. And then after that, we'll evaluate, what we're going to do after that. We could possibly make you into more of like a World Heavyweight Champion rather than an Intercontinental Champion. Who knows? Or we could wait to Money in the Bank and let you win the Money in the Bank briefcase, and then that same night you drop the Intercontinental title, but yet you still got the briefcase and you cash in. We could do something like that to better improve your career, because I think Apollo Crews would definitely make a great Intercontinental Champion. Sorry, Finn Balor, but you've already had your title run. Now it's time for somebody else. Because, title runs now in WWE is kind of like this certain situation where you have to like win the championship and keep it for several months before you lose it, because then, you know, you could build up your character, build into something else that could lead into something greater, but then also at the same time, within that few month period, someone else is requesting to move up in the card rank, and that's a great opportunity right there. So, like I said, Apollo Crews was just my example right there. Don't take that so seriously, all you Apollo Crews haters, because, like I said, it was just a thought, and that was it. But guys, that is my 7 ways of how to better improve WWE at its current state to keep these wrestlers from leaving the organization, keeping them happy, boost your TV ratings, and much, much, much more. So guys, that's all the time I have for today, but I sure hope you did enjoy today's podcast. If you did, make sure to like button, retweet it, do whatever you got to spread the word of joy on the Morgan Man Sports Podcast. Till then, guys, I, Cole Morgan, catch you all later. Peace.